usually protect both of them. One of the things that differentiate a WAF from an IPS, next generation firewall, and so on, is its ability to understand how users interact with an application. So as you, once you install a WAF in front of your application, it usually looks at traffic flowing to the application. It builds a type of a profile, and then deviations from that profile can be then blocked. And I'll talk about that later on. Another important thing about a WAF that it needs to be dynamic and adaptive to adjust to the new threats, but also to changes to web applications. The dynamics of web applications, if you look at DevOps and so on, you'll see that web applications obviously change throughout the time. New URLs, new parameters are being introduced by the development team. That means that the WAF needs to adapt its profile to it. So that's another very important feature of a WAF. Why really a firewall and an IPS are not good enough? Usually, first of all, because of that profile building functionality that they don't have, but also because they're very limited in what they're looking for. Usually they're not looking all the way up to the application layer, but if they do, it's very limited. A lot of times they don't have visibility into SSL. They just have signatures. They really have no awareness of the application, about the user, and that really triggers many, many false positives and create an issue with real protection. So if you want to protect against these high-level, against these high-profile attacks, then you really need a web application firewall. The challenges here and the drivers, obviously you need to protect current and existing applications from code-based vulnerabilities. PCI is a big driver. PCI 6.6 is a big driver for the WAF market, because if you're, what it really says is that if you're using credit cards on your applications, if you're holding credit card numbers, then you need to have a type of a WAF in front of the applications. That's PCI 6.6, and that's really one of the biggest drivers of a WAF. So if you're customers, that's one of the questions that you need to ask them. Do you use credit cards? Can customers, is this an e-commerce website? Can customers use their credit cards to buy things off your web app? And if they do, they need to have this type of device in front of your applications. The OS top 10 is also have been more and more common when in discussions with customers. When talking about protection to applications, the OS top 10 lists the top 10 vulnerabilities and application vulnerabilities and types of attacks. Customers want to know that their applications are protected from the OS top 10, and WAF, that's one of the main things that they do, protecting against the OS top 10. Obviously, identifying and addressing web application vulnerabilities, website publishing for Microsoft and other applications, Microsoft applications such as Exchange, SharePoint, and so on, usually is something that customers would like to protect. Up until now, there was a solution from Microsoft, very basic, but it used to publish Microsoft applications called TMG, but TMG is end of life, and a lot of customers are looking for a solution to replace the TMG, and FortiWeb specifically, and some other WAFs as well, can publish Microsoft applications. So that's another thing you want to talk to your customers about. Obviously, defacement of website is something that customers have on their mind as well. Who needs a WAF? Really, as we said, any organization that processes credit cards and or has a PCI requirement, usually PCI 6.6 is about WAFs. Large internal or external applications, and most importantly, sensitive proprietary information similar to credit cards, whether it's healthcare or anything else. If you're holding sensitive information, you need to make sure your application is protected, and obviously mission-critical business application. So FortiWeb, the web application firewall product line, we provide 5 different models, hardware models, starting from 25 meg all the way to 20 gig. So whatever your customer requires, it's really about performance. You fit the right hardware to the performance requirements. So whether you need a small solution, just protecting a single, 2 applications with not too much traffic, or you need all the way up to 20 gig HTTP throughput. FortiWeb is the fastest solution in the market. We have the fastest hardware out there between all the competition, and I can guarantee you that whatever performance requirements your customers need, we have it. We include vulnerability scanning and antivirus in the solution. No additional licenses required. We also have hardware and VM options and different types of integration with FortiGate, FortiSandbox, and so on. When it comes to virtual solutions, we also provide multiple solutions here as well, whether it's VMware, Citrix Xen Server, open source Xen, AWS. We have both a bring your own license instance and an on-demand instance, and the same with Azure. We have a BYOL solution, and later in the year we'll have an on-demand solution as well. In terms of which VM to pick, it's really about the vCPU. It's really similar to all other Fortinet VM solutions. So we've got the VM01 with 1V CPU all the way up to VM08. When it comes to FortiGuard service, I don't think I need to mention that too much to talk a little too much about FortiGuard Labs, award-winning threat research services. FortiGuard provides 3 different subscription services to FortiWeb. The security service, which is the most used one, that includes the application layer signatures, updates for malicious bots, suspicious URL patterns, and also web vulnerability scanner updates. IP reputation that you see in other products as well, such as FortiGate, FortiDDoS, FortiADC, and antivirus. We are one of the only WAFs in the market that provide inherent and integrated antivirus, and you don't need to go to a third-party solution to integrate with an antivirus. This is obviously subscription-based, so available per service, and you can choose either a bundle or whichever service you want. So moving on to the product functionality and features in the past year, we've put together a strategy for the product. It's really about 3 buckets: performance, integration, and innovation. When it comes to performance, we have set a goal to ourselves to provide the fastest hardware, and not just the fastest hardware, which we have up to 20 gig solution, but also the fastest solution out there. So I can guarantee you that if you take a specific CPU and install our solution and compare it to the competition, we can squeeze a lot more performance than the competition. We've got SSL ASICs in there, optimized operating system and hardware, obviously. It's all built by Fortinet. When it comes to integration, one of the important things we've done is integrate the product with multiple other products. First of all, FortiGate, FortiSandbox. We've done that in the past year, and we'll talk about it next, and also with third-party scanners. It is important. The integration here is important because as you upsell to the enterprise, they require more functionality. And for you as a partner, when you have integration with FortiGate, FortiSandbox, we're the only WAF that integrates with these products. It tightens together the solution. So for you, if you have an existing FortiGate customer, it's a lot easier to sell FortiWeb rather than the competition. And the last bucket here is innovation. Start adding innovative features, whether it's scoring and tracking that I'll talk about next, SDN for cloud that we'll release later in the year, and also false positive mitigation, which is a main challenge for customers, and we'll talk about that as well. I mentioned AutoLearn, the profiling capability of a WAF, and I want to spend a couple of minutes on how we do that here with our solution. This isn't new. We've had this for a while, but it's a very important feature when it comes to a web application firewall, differentiating it from the rest of the products. What it does really is once you install FortiWeb in front of your applications and configure the applications on FortiWeb, it starts looking at traffic flowing to the application, and based on a statistical engine, it will build a profile of allowed activities. What does that mean? It means that it will know exactly which URLs are being accessed on the application, each URL, what parameters are being used, whether it's You know, it could be a username or